Okay, thanks guys. I trust you're not all too cold. We did think about heaters, but I was told, no, don't panic, the sun's coming out. It'll all warm up, and I trust it has. So I have a piece of paper in front of me because and I'll probably put myself in the box now, but with age comes memory loss. So, first of all, welcome to everybody. Thank you for attending, both locally and remotely. We'll be back so in the slightly center of the screen. For our celebration today, to welcome Mr. Conrad Stark. Welcome him to EHL. Okay, that's it. Okay, so first of all, just a little bit about, because we are doing a changeover now, so it's a changing of the guard. Fred will be coming up to have a chat as well. So for those of you that have recently joined EHL, and for the others as a reminder, Fred's actually been with the company almost from inception, which was around 43 plus years ago. He hasn't quite been here for that long. I think it's marginally shorter than that, but in the bigger scheme of things, not that much shorter. As evidenced by his employee number of 20. Okay. Fred's contribution to and passion for EHL and the wider industry has been felt at all levels, and experience, knowledge and guidance he's provided has impacted many during his career. Fred won't be leaving the group. He will still be integrally involved with EHL, remaining as the chairman. So he's not going to disappear. He will still be wandering around, chatting to people, popping into their offices unannounced. So we haven't quite lost that experience just yet. Okay, so to kick off, Mr. Fred Plutzer.
Thanks, Steve. So looking at Steve and he's talking about the weather, I think I am more dressed for the occasion than what he is. Obviously, he doesn't feel the weather as acutely as I do. It's such a privilege and pleasure to be standing here in front of you and having this talk and looking across and obviously looking at the camera, all of those that are not here today but are virtually here, and welcome to all of you too. I don't know how far we're broadcasting, probably certainly as far as Roodepoort and any of the other places where people might be dialing in, the wonder of today's technology. So thanks, Steve, for that. Yes, I'm still trying to determine what the word chairman means. My chair fits quite okay. But rest assured, I'm not one that likes to sit in my chair. I still like to be involved. I still like to know what's going on. And I still want to come around and make sure that everybody knows what we are, who we are, what we do, what makes us tick out there in the marketplace, and what makes us successful as a business, and how do we keep on going. So I must quickly reflect. When we had our year-end function in our 30th year of existence, I stood there and I made my talk that day was to say, well, we've come 30 years, and I would like to know that we're preparing for the next 30 years. So 12 years later, we're at this time where we have a new chapter that's going to begin. And it's an exciting chapter. Those of you that are new, the company has been growing at various stages and contracting over the years, and we're certainly sitting at the moment, we're in a very, very dynamic situation where, in spite of all the negativism that we had the last few years, COVID, etc. and whatnot, we were able to overcome that and do something that made our clients take notice of us and to have them place their trust in us to continue being a factor in the marketplace. And certainly what's happened recently, our recent move to this building, it's all testament to the fact that each one of you has been able to make a meaningful contribution, and we will continue to do so. Remember, us as the leadership of the company can only go so far. Each one of you actually plays a critical role in presenting this company and the services that we offer out into the marketplace. So for me, it's really a great honor on behalf of the EHL board, myself, Heinrich Bredenkamp, Jacques Hanekom, Patty Naidu, to say it's time. It's a culmination of an exercise that we initiated earlier in this year, and it goes back even longer than that, where we said we need to make sure that we package ourselves and to be ready for the challenges that face us going forward. So Conrad has been the person that's come to us to come and join us and to come and take us forward. So I certainly will still be around, and hopefully you'll find some place where I can continue to be of use in that respect. But we certainly look forward to welcoming him, taking over in this new role as CEO. Conrad.
Thank you, Fred. So how's it, guys? My name is, as you might have worked out, is Conrad Stark. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about the personal journey I've been on with EHL, particularly Heinrich, who WhatsApped me a lot in the last while. But also talk about an amazing journey I've been over the last 2 weeks, meeting good folk. But a little bit more about me first. Can I just ask for a raise of hands? Sorry, firstly, can you all take out your cell phones and make sure you're connected to the internet? Can you just show me, has anybody got a problem with the internet? Okay, so just keep your cell phone handy. All of those who are from WITS, raise your cell phone. I don't know if you guys heard. There's a guy at the back. Do you mind coming forward here? So there's a seat here for you. Second group of people is anybody who's got some qualification in mechanical engineering. Raise your hand. With your phone. Yeah, raise your phone. That's how we do it now. That's how we do it. We use the technology, Wi-Fi enabled. Jokes aside, guys. Thanks. I think. As I said, you can go back to your seat now. I don't have... We've obviously got to find more mechanical work for these guys. But let me tell you a little bit about, you've worked out that I'm a mechanical engineer. I have a huge passion for two things. One of them is quality. And the other one is in relationships. Those are the two things that I put enormous value on. And I think always around everything that we do, be it good quality work or just building the right relationships. And one of the key things that attracted me to EHL is a very relationship-centric business. And I think that for me is one of the most attractive elements of that, and saying, how do we build on that for the journey that lies ahead? And I think that in all the people I've met, and I've only been around for a very short time, I think everybody's feeling the same way. It's all about this relationship. It's all about the team delivering quality. And I often use the term that when you win a contract, it's somebody giving you a part of their business to perform on their behalf. And again, we must be humbled and respectful in actually how we deliver that work, such that it is valuable to the client. So for me, those are kind of the central themes that I've developed over the years, over my working career. So just a little bit more about where I came from. I started off, obviously at WITS, in case you hadn't worked that out, for those electrical engineers amongst you. I meant that. Yeah, we used to call them, I remember being in varsity with them, and we used to call them nerd sock. And they were always a lot brighter than we and understood stuff we didn't understand, but nonetheless. So I had a JCI bursary. Now, as many of you will know, JCI became what is now Anglo Platinum. I did my junior engineer days on the smelter at Waterval. I don't know if anybody's been there before. Just raise your cell phone. I want to count self. I don't know if anybody's been there. Anyway, so, and I did my junior engineer days there, and I stuck around in the Anglo group for about 18 years, and really got involved in building, obviously, plant operations, and then later on into projects. And I was very lucky enough with an Anglo group. I worked in places like Canada. I spent a lot of time in Russia. I'm actually behind the wall. I don't know if you guys have worked that out. So it's interesting enough, I took over one of the businesses I took over in Russia as MD. The previous guy was a Ukrainian guy, and he was leaving Russia because his family was being victimized and his kids at school being victimized. And it was a really interesting, very personal relationship I had with this guy who was Ukrainian. And he's in the war. He actually sent me a message a little while back saying that he's still okay. I WhatsApped him. And so it's an interesting thing is to see how your personal networks grow with time and the people that cross your path. Talking about crossing the path, early in my career, I also started to work with EHL. I don't know if anybody knows a guy named Doug Emanuel, Kerry Blackburn. They were some of the guys that I got to know. I started to work with Steve at that time as well. And we built some of the mines for De Beers and for Anglo-American Platinum. So we have that particular background as well. And I think it makes a place like EHL, I'd always admired it. And saying you guys were quite special relative to many of the other project companies. There was something quite different. There was a fact that was you were sole sourced, you had the relationships, you had a lot of value, and you had a lot of insight into the client's business. And that is enormously valuable for the client as well as it's part of what defines this group. And I think where we are right now is a very exciting phase. We've gone through a process of re-engineering the business and saying, where do we want to be? And saying that we're wanting to get into multidisciplinary work. We're looking at broadening beyond the current client base and saying, what does that success look like? And I can tell you it's quite simple. It's about doing the basics right, starting with the end in mind, making sure we deliver well, having the right processes, systems in place. Oh, by the way, cell phone time again. Who's done their timesheet today? Can I ask the question again? There are not enough hands. So, getting the basics right. Our business is very simple. It's a business about building trust, that we know what you need. It's about putting, obviously, a sensible price in, delivering well, and then hopefully somebody pays us for it. Our business is really quite simple. It's about getting all of those basics right. So I think the first 6 months of our journey together, between now and I keep saying when Boney M will play in the shops again. And I think CNA is always the place you go, is always the earliest. But we know the year is pretty much winding down by the time Boney M is playing. But ask ourselves, what will it feel like to be part of EHL at that time? And say to ourselves, we're going through a journey now. The MAC processes have been stopped, and I think they've run to conclusion. We're looking now at implementing, making sure that our systems are relevant for the kind of work that we're doing. That's really important as well. We've done some work on the organogram, and it's not complete. We have there a whole bunch of issues we haven't dealt with yet, but we should be tidying that up in the next couple of days. Next week or so, we'll have most of that tidied up. And again, back to saying, making sure the basics are in place, and then the journey starts, a slightly different journey starts. It's about building trust with a new set of clients. We've got a very strong suite of clients, got a lot of good stuff, but what does that look like? Under what conditions will they give us? And we're looking for mechanical work, we're looking for more plant-related work, and saying, what will that journey be? How will we build that trust? And it's all about, there's a massive gap in the market at the moment. We know they're the big companies, the big EPCM companies, smaller consulting businesses, and we're saying, how do we broaden within that scope? So that's really the journey that we're on, and we're going to see a lot of change and a lot of cementing and putting the basics in place so that we are ready to take on that next journey in the new year. So that's really what I'm going to be about. And I'm going to be poking my nose in all sorts of places and saying, help me understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And we'll do everything from business development. I'm going to say to you, if you are going to see a client, be it on a project or be it on any other engagement, I'm going to ask you to invite me along and say, let's go and talk to that client and let's go and understand what his needs are and under what conditions we could be relevant to them. So I think that's kind of the approach and emphasis that I would like your support on over the next couple of months. I'm also hoping that we're going to have a lot of fun and tell a couple of jokes, even if they're bad jokes. So I have a joke. I'm a big fan of dad jokes, you know. And I don't know if all of those, you know what a dad joke is. It must be cringeworthy. You've got to have kids to be credible. Otherwise, if you don't have kids and you're trying to tell a dad joke, it doesn't work. So I've got one, because we were talking about IT earlier today. So you could just imagine this picture here is a guy walking out of a church, and he's got his bride on his arm, just gotten married. And there stands another girl in her wedding gown. And he says to her, "Didn't you get my email?" I don't see everybody got that one. You know what they say? That he who laughs last has to have the joke explained. So must I tell it in Afrikaans? Sal dit help? So the other thing that's different about me is I'm from Joburg. Now, I tried to live in Pretoria once. And I don't know if you guys, who's from Joburg here? Raise your cell phone. Okay, a couple of Joburg. You guys know what I'm saying. So when you get an application form to live in Pretoria, have you seen that application form? On the top of the form it says NOM. And so far I'm doing well. And then there are two questions. And this is only for men only. The women won't relate to this, I hope. The first one is, do you have a bakkie? And if so, does it have trolleys on the back? And if you don't have a bakkie, do you plan to buy one? And if so, what sort or what model? So that's the first question. The other question is, do you have a snor? And if not, do you plan to grow one? And if so, how long will it take? So I answered no to both of those questions. So I stay in Joburg. Sorry? Yeah, or if you look like Steve, I'm not sure if they would let him in. Yeah, I think the snor might work. So you might hear me talking about a place called Snor City, and that's not Redderpoort, it's Pretoria. So folks, I've had an amazing 2 weeks, and I'm humbled by this event that everybody's come out to help make this memorable and show me how seriously you're taking this, and I really appreciate that. I think we're on a new journey. I've got some good ideas, and I've got some ideas which may not be that good, and I'm hoping you tell me when they're not. And I'm very keen to focus as well as making sure that our engine room is solid, but then to look outside the business and saying, how do we tell people about what we can do for them and how we can be relevant for them? So that's really what we're going to be doing in the near future. I would appreciate if you have any good ideas that you tell me and stuff we've tried, people you know. We haven't spoken much about what we can do about business development, because each one of us has a business development role. Each one of us is talking to people and saying, do you have a guy? I was talking to, I think it was Ethan this morning, who knows people at SAPI. And I'm saying, hey, why don't we talk to them? Let's jump in the car and go and see them. And maybe understand a little bit about what their needs are and maybe how we can be relevant to them. So each one of us has 1,000 or 2 contacts on your phone. You know, why don't you come and tell me who they are, and let's talk to them. Let's tell them about the journey we're on and how we're going to be more and more useful to them going forward. So that for me is part of the energy that I think we should have, collaboration that we should have. And as I say, we go back to our desks on Monday and ask yourself, you know, who's out there that I could connect with, and show them that we are, that EHL is a growing, developing business that will be more and more relevant to them. So that's really what I'm thinking. As I said, I've had a ball in the last couple of days. I've enjoyed the people that I've met, come up with a few things that we must fix, like getting invoices paid, small detail. I challenge you, the next time you meet your client, is don't call him Mr. Fricky or whatever his name is call him Mr. Paycheck. So if you spoke to him and said, hello, Mr. Paycheck, would it change our urgency about getting invoices out and getting them right? So we've got a bit of a journey, stuff to fix, but that's going to be one of our short-term focuses to make sure that we get that money in. So guys, that's kind of me. I'm looking forward to getting to know folks and making new friends and on a new journey. And as I said, I'm humbled by the event, and I thank Fred and the EHL board for the confidence that you've placed in me. And I'm going to push pretty hard to do the things that we said we're going to do. I think we've set a target that is very, very realistic. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. I remember phoning up Fred in about September last year, and I said to Fred, I've got a power project, and I need somebody to talk to, and I'd like to talk to you. He says, don't waste time, speak to Herr Heinrich. So I met with Heinrich a few days later, and Heinrich and I think we had what was a quick meeting, turned into a whole morning meeting, and that was the start of an interesting journey. He said, well, instead of you doing what you're doing, come and do it with us, because I think I had some business opportunities that I wanted to share. And over the last couple of months, we've been in a regular conversation, and I've really seen, maybe a bit of as an observer, this whole MAC process roll out and people's understanding of what the journey and what the potential of this EHL beast could be. And I think now we're seeing it, now we're here all together, and I'm kind of turning the corner and saying, we're actually starting this journey and trying to be the business that we said we're going to be. And I'm very confident that we're well placed to achieve that. So I thank you, and thank you for pitching up. Again, thanks, Steve, for all the arrangements. And I'm happy to take any questions, only if they're sensible questions, please. Cheap seats at the back there. I'm going to give you the mic.
Hello, can everyone hear me? All right. So we have seen that ChatGPT, something we have only 300 employees who have shaken the, I'm saying, a lot of programmers in the world because it can do most of the things. So we have seen first world countries already implementing artificial intelligence. So as a CEO of EHL, how you think we can use artificial intelligence in future for better implementation of the programs which we are thinking? Thanks.
Yo, that is a difficult one. Okay, so the question is, how do we use artificial intelligence and ChatGPT to improve our performance? Is there a CNI engineer in the house who can help me on this one? I think jokes aside, the simple answer is I don't know. I think the whole idea of automating our delivery and focusing on the highest value tasks, I think is going to be part of our futures and our lives in the future. exactly how I connect the dots that you're raising, I must be honest, I don't know the answer. But we were actually in an interesting conversation earlier today about saying how do we increase the automation of the business? And I think when you look at the organogram, there are a couple of things there that are, we've appointed Dave Ingham as what we're calling business excellence, and really establishing the rules, the tools, the environment in which we work, the mechanisms that we use to deliver our work. We also asked Jacques to step up and say, how do we automate this such that we can be, and again, it's not answering the question 100%, but how can we be slicker in what we do? I think the key thing is we want to be in an environment where we're offering our clients thought leadership, quick turnarounds, and whatever we can do to obviously reduce the price. Price is always part of it, and we can reduce our turnaround time. How can we connect all of those and give you the tools that you can be smarter and quicker? But I think otherwise, I don't know the answer to that. But I'm saying from an innovation point of view, how else can we do that? And I would be open to all of those kind of conversations and saying, there are repetitive tasks, there's level of research, how do we get smarter and quicker? I suppose in short, I'm probably going to pass the mic back to you and ask you to answer your own question. I think that's an important part. So, I mean, I don't know the answer, but I think we've got to be a lot smarter in saying what's costing us money so that we focus on things. So for me, ChatGPT is the topic, but I always like it if there's a problem to solve specifically. And I think that's what we should be talking about, how do we automate our business more. As I say, it doesn't answer your question in a manner that I don't really know right now how to answer it. Okay, any other sensible questions? You're seriously hungry, that's probably last course. All right, guys, thank you again. Steve, I'll hand back to you.
Okay, Lucas is hungry, so we'll serve you food shortly. I think today's event, Amanda, Rachel, Nadia, and Alay, I can never remember my surname. Thank you to all of you for organising all of this. The brief was make it memorable. I believe it is. Okay, so thanks again. Food will be served shortly. Conrad, welcome. Thank you. I was considering, I don't have my phone at the moment, I've handed it out at this stage, but if we go through my contacts, I'm not sure that my mom's going to be able to help. But we'll try. Right, welcome. Thank you.